Imagine eating something that can taste like chicken, clean the environment, and even glow in the dark. And yet, most people only recognize a few types of mushrooms. So, what are we missing? Because mushrooms are not just food, they are one of the most diverse and misunderstood organisms on Earth. And once you understand them, you'll never look at them the same way again. Let's start with something simple. When you see a mushroom, that's not the organism, it's just the fruit. The real body lives underground, a network called mycelium. And some of these networks can stretch for kilometers, meaning the mushroom you see is only a tiny part of something much bigger. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Not all mushrooms are meant to be eaten. Some are delicious, some are deadly, and some don't even look like mushrooms at all. Let's start with the ones you already know. The mushrooms you see in supermarkets. Button mushrooms, small, white, simple. They look basic, but they're actually the same species as cremini and portobello. The only difference? Age. As they grow, they get darker, richer, more flavorful. So what feels like variety is sometimes just time, but that's just the surface. Because some mushrooms don't just add flavor, they define entire cuisines. Take shiitake mushrooms, dark, rich, slightly smoky. They're known for something called umami, that deep savory taste that makes food feel complete. But here's what most people don't realize. Shiitake doesn't just add flavor, it amplifies everything around it, which is why a simple dish suddenly feels complex. Now compare that to oyster mushrooms. Completely different texture, soft, almost silky. They don't just sit in a dish, they absorb it, which is why they're often used as a meat substitute. Because when cooked right, they mimic texture surprisingly well. And this is where things shift, because mushrooms aren't just ingredients, they're tools. Tools that chefs use to control flavor, texture, and even perception. Now, here's something most people don't expect. Some mushrooms are extremely expensive. Take truffles. They don't grow like normal mushrooms, they grow underground, near tree roots, which makes them incredibly hard to find. That's why trained dogs are used to hunt them. And when you finally get one, the aroma is intense, earthy, sharp, almost overwhelming. But here's the twist. Most truffle products you see don't actually contain real truffle. They use synthetic flavor. So what feels like luxury is often just imitation. And this is where it gets even more interesting. Not all mushrooms are about taste. Some are about function. Take reishi mushrooms. Hard, bitter, not meant for flavor, but used for centuries in traditional medicine. Same with lion's mane, a mushroom that looks almost like a brain. And here's the fascinating part. It's being studied for its potential impact on memory and focus. Some mushrooms are food, some are functional, some are both. And then there are the dangerous ones. This is where it gets serious. The death cap mushroom. It looks harmless, even edible, but it's responsible for most mushroom-related deaths worldwide. Just a small amount can shut down your liver. And the scariest part? Symptoms don't show immediately, so by the time you realize something is wrong, it's often too late. There are mushrooms that look almost identical, but have completely opposite effects. And that difference comes down to tiny details. Now here's something that feels unreal. Some mushrooms don't just grow, they glow. Bioluminescent mushrooms produce light through chemical reactions inside their cells. No electricity, no heat, just natural light. Scientists believe this glow helps attract insects, which spread spores, meaning even their light has a purpose. And this is where everything connects, because mushrooms aren't random. They are part of a system, underground networks connecting plants, sharing nutrients, even sending signals. Some call it the wood wide web. Because trees don't just stand alone, they communicate through fungi. Now think about that, an entire hidden network running beneath forests, supporting life, and most people never see it. And yet, we reduce mushrooms to toppings. That's the disconnect. Because once you understand mushrooms, you realize they're not just food, they're infrastructure. They break down waste, recycle nutrients, support ecosystems. Without them, entire environments collapse. And this is the part most people miss. Mushrooms exist between categories, not quite plants, not animals either. Something in between, which is exactly why they're so powerful. They don't follow the same rules. And that's what makes them so versatile. Food, medicine, danger, network, all in one. So next time you see a mushroom, remember this. You're not just looking at food. You're looking at the visible part of something much bigger, much older, and far more complex than it seems. And once you see that, you can't unsee it.